York Yankees took care of the Atlanta Braves in a quick 2-game series in the Bronx. Although it was just 2 games, we have a lot to talk about. What's the verdict on Aaron Judge? We'll get to that and more on this episode of the Pinstripe Talk podcast, which begins right now.
You are listening to the Pinstripe Talk podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Pinstripe Talk podcast, powered by Delahanty Media. I am your host, Nick Delahanty. As I mentioned in our last show, we've been doing our annual Monday shows, kind of breaking down everything as the week goes on, but I figured that with the way the Yankee schedule has been situated, they have an off day on Thursday before they start a new series against the Boston Red Sox. I figured, why not take some time today and talk about the Yankee series against the Atlanta Braves and everything that went down during that series. I love talking Yankees baseball, as you already know, and I know you guys like new content, so it was a perfect match. And if you're in the tri-state area, it's a little rainy on this Thursday, so while we're sitting here on this Thursday, kind of stuck inside with nothing else to do, figured let's talk some Yankees baseball together. If you want to join in on our conversation, feel free to do so. Find us on Twitter at PinstripeTalkND. My personal account at Nick_Delahanty. You can search us up on Facebook by looking up Pinstripe Talk Podcast. Again, our show is powered by the Delahanty Media brand. Find us on Instagram at Delahanty Media. A new Facebook page will be launching within the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that as well. And also, we have our website up and rolling, DelahantyMedia.com, making it a lot easier for you guys to check out all our content with regards to the Delahanty Media brand. This is a new development for us. We're very excited about it. So go check it out. Give us some looks on that. Thanks to Alpha Design and my good friend Connor for helping us out with that website design. Without him, it definitely wouldn't have been possible. And as always, you know how to stream our show. You're listening to it right now. You're doing a great job, but we need your help even more. If you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's very important to our show, helps us get more views. And again, it helps make our brand look better. 5 stars. We love 5 stars, just so you guys know. We're on Spotify as well, TuneIn Radio, Google Play Music. You name it, the show is there available for you. We have some exciting developments in regards to our show being hosted elsewhere that I can't release yet. But it will be coming in the near future, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. We'll keep you updated, as always, when anything does happen regarding our show and our brand. And now my last piece of advertising is to send you guys to our Teespring store to buy any gear. It's located right on our main page on DelahantyMedia.com. There's a lot of great gear, exciting things that we're offering. Check that out, and we hope that you support our brand. All proceeds go towards supporting our show, so again, help us out and show your love for our show, the Let's Debate podcast, or simply just the brand itself. Thank you guys for listening to my advertising plug for everything and anything for the Pinstripe Talk podcast and Delahanty Media. Obviously, you guys know you got to plug yourself. You got to be out there. You got to be open. You got to make sure that people are understanding of what your brand is and how you can expand your brand. And again, we thank everybody for listening to our show on a regular basis, but we're looking to even expand more. So if you're listening to our show, share the link with your friends. Let them talk Yankees baseball with us. There's a lot of things to talk about with this team. And we're coming off a series in which the Yankees took on the Atlanta Braves. And going into the season, this is an Atlanta Braves team that they came off of a 90-win season last year. And there's a lot to look at with this team. They're a little bit of a different look, obviously. There's a couple of different pieces in play. And with regards to the National League play, you know, you play your 20 games against National League opponents, and they're important because obviously in a 60-game schedule, you know, every game does matter, but you just get that feel like the games against division rivals are much more important. And not to say that the teams they're playing in the National League aren't good or anything, but you just feel like when you're playing your division, there's so much more at stake, and you want to take care of your division rivals. And coming off a tough series against Tampa, I was hopeful that the Yankees would come out with a vengeance coming home to start a 9-game homestand. And before the homestand started, they were 4-0 in the Bronx. And if you do the math, they haven't played many games in New York yet this year, which is good for them. After this series was over, they played 6 total games in the Bronx, which gives them a handful more as you look toward the season because you play 30 games at home, 30 on the road. So there's a lot more at stake for this Bronx Bombers team, and they'll be playing in the Bronx a lot more as the next few months roll by. But again, my goals going into the series were at least split. And I hate to sound like that kind of person, like, oh, he'll be satisfied with a split. Obviously, you want to sweep, but the way I see it is this, and I said it on our last show, and you can check it out because the tape don't lie. This season feels like the Yankees are going to cakewalk into the postseason. And say what you want, call me arrogant, call me cocky, but there are so many teams going to the playoffs because of the new format. It just feels like they're going to get in. You just hope you stay healthy. You hope you get home field because they're better in the Bronx. Obviously, you want to play your playoff games for the majority in the Bronx, but it just feels like this team is using the regular season as a kind of practice to get going. And I know the guys and the organization don't have that feel, but it just feels like this is a tune-up for the postseason for fans because, let's face it, this team is one of the best teams in baseball when they're on and when they're loaded and when they're healthy, obviously. And really, last year, they won 103 games with the backups because everybody and their brother was hurt. So now you're healthy and you add a Garrett Cole, you expect a lot more from this squad. And the playoff format, I don't agree with it. Obviously, I think that your top team should be in the playoffs. I think it would have added a little more competition into it. But again, they wanted to make it an even field and try to get more teams involved. So for the year, it is what it is, whatever. Now, game 1, the Yankees sent Jordan Montgomery out to the mound, and he looked good. Monty looked good. And that's a good sign for the Bronx Bombers. He goes 6 innings. He only allowed 3 runs, 4 strikeouts. And let me remind you, he didn't allow a run until that 6th inning, and he let up a 3-run homer to Ozuna. That was really the only mistake he made all game. We talked about it on our last show, how he left a lot of pitches over the plate in his last start, and he got a little roughed up. But it was nice to see Montgomery make some adjustments and figure things out on the mound because he looked really good. And this is a guy that, when you look at the Yankees rotation healthy, and by healthy, I mean you have Cole at the top, Tanaka, and Paxton behind him. This is a very capable 4th or 5th starter in the big leagues. You figure Hap's in there somewhere, but I would say he's better than Hap, so I would consider him a 4. And you just have to be impressed with the young kid. Off of Tommy John surgery, he had a really nice outing against the Braves, like I mentioned. So you look for that with the back end of your rotation, especially given the Yankees have had trouble getting depth out of their starting rotation. Take Garrett Cole out of the mix. I know he had the 1 start where he only went 4 2/3, but the Yankees rotation hasn't given them length. And when you're in a sprint like this, how much are you going to really tax the bullpen? So seeing that from Montgomery was really good for the Bronx Bombers. The Yankees got off to a really hot start in this game. Voit hit a home run right away, put them up 3-0, and then it was a lead that they didn't let up because they added 3 more runs in the 3rd. Voit again comes up. He had a scorching line drive to third base. Riley tried to double up the runner at first, made a bad throw. LeMahieu, being heads up, was able to score on the play, and then Ford hit a double that scored Hicks and Judge, put the Yankees up 6-0, and at that point, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, Monty looks really good. The Yankees' offense looks good. This is going to be a blowout, and we're going to have a little fun with this. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th. Yankees get up again. Judge hits a 432-foot blast, and I mean blast. If you haven't seen it, go online, look it up. It's worth your time. Puts them up 7-0, and then they score another run. Ford hit into a double play, and the run scored. So it's 8-0 at that point. Now, again, like I said a few minutes earlier, you're sitting there and you're like, man, this is going to be a blowout. This is fantastic. We want this. We love this. We need more of this. But it doesn't happen that way. Now, Montgomery lets up the home run to Ozuna in that top of the 6th. It's now 8-3. Now here's where all the questions start. After he homered in his previous at-bat, Aaron Judge gets pinch hit for by Mike Tauchman. Nothing against Tauchman. I love the dude. Talked about him last show. Love him. But why in an 8-3 ball game is Aaron Boone taking Aaron Judge, arguably the MVP of the American League, out of the ball game. This makes zero sense. It's not like you're up 15 nothing or 16 nothing and the game's out of hand. You're up in this situation, you're up by only 5. It's not a blowout, but nonetheless, Judge comes out of the game. Tauchman comes up, he walks and is at bat. It is what it is. This game gets a little sticky after Montgomery. The Yankees are holding on to that lead, and Aaron Boone goes to, I don't want to call him the backup arms, but again, the backup arms, David Hale. He struggles. He only gets one out. They have to go to Adam Ottavino to close the 7th. And then Luis Sessa comes in. He gets roughed up a bit. He only gets one out, so they have to bring in Green. Britton comes in to close it. But again, it just feels like nothing is ever easy with this team. You know, coming off of an off day, and I get that they were up 9-3, whatever, at the point where Montgomery comes out of the game. I totally understand that. But after a day off, and you're trying to get these guys working, I understand you don't want to overtax them. Wouldn't it have been easier just to go to Green and let him pitch the 8th and let Britton pitch the 9th? Or, if you're up 9-3 still, give a guy an inning, maybe bring in Hale then or Sessa there and see. Wouldn't it have been easier, especially given the way the schedule is currently? It's not like they have so many games in a matter of a week. They had 2 days off this week, so why not use the big guns? I just don't get it. Now, and again, it is what it is. Boone's been questionable for the last couple of weeks, as you've seen. I've been questioning him a lot, and we're going to question him a little bit more after we finish talking about this game, because there's a lot to break down in regards to Aaron Judge. But I do want to point out some notables from the game. LeMahieu, he had a series, man. We're going to talk about him later, too. He had a hit in 2 at-bats, 2 runs, 2 walks. Judge hit the mammoth home run. Hicks scored 3 runs. Voit had the home run. 3 RBIs. Mike Ford, 2 hits, 3 RBIs. It just seems like every time Voit hits, Ford hits, they're in that competition. They battle it out. They really want to play. They're really adopting that next man up mentality. They're really trying to earn those at bats, and it's nice to see. And you just got to point out the offense. They really did a nice job. They supported Montgomery. They allowed him to go out on the mound and do his thing and not have pressure of pitching in a 1-0 game or a 2-0 game. So you have to credit everybody involved. Yankees lineup did the job. The Yankee starting pitching did the job. Bullpen was a little iffy, but the big guns did what the big guns are supposed to do, and that's get out and dominate. And that's what Ottavino, Green, and Britton end up doing. Now, as we mentioned a little earlier, Aaron Judge left the game in the 6th inning. And when asked by reporters, Aaron Boone said that it was for rest purposes. And by rest purposes, you're assuming that they're a little concerned about the amount that Judge is playing. And in a blowout, like I said earlier, it makes sense. If you're up 15-0, 16-0, there's no point of running Judge out there and possibly getting him hurt. But if Judge was hurting and Judge was bothered by something, don't you think that it would have been better off that they would have, said something and not hit it? And instead of just saying, oh, it's for rest, just say, you know what, he's dealing with something. It is what it is. And be honest about it. Well, they lied about Judge's status because come Wednesday, prior to the series finale against the Braves, Aaron Boone noted that Judge is injured and he's dealing with what they call lower body tightness. And Boone says kind of a mix of the hips, hamstrings, and calves. And Boone citing that it's all a result of playing over the weekend on the Tropicana Field turf. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? First and foremost, why did you lie about his status? If Judge was hurting, why wouldn't you just say, he's been banged up a little bit. It's early on in the year. We don't want to push him out there. He's fine, but we took it as a precaution. That's all they had to say. Why are you hiding it from the fans and the game that Judge is a little banged up? That's the first thing. I don't understand that. I don't like the shadiness. First of all, everybody wants to know what's going on with this guy. You set off pandemonium by taking him out of the game. Everybody was panicked that he was hurt. And yeah, he was sitting in the dugout, but you don't know his status. And let's remember, The Yankees just lost Giancarlo Stanton to injury, and he got replaced in the game. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're seeing Judge sitting in the dugout getting replaced. You're thinking that the guy's hurt. Just say he's hurt. Why are you hiding it? That's stupid. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Number two, and this is another thing that bothers me. Guys play on the Tropicana field as their home field and are able to stay healthy. You're saying that he played 4 games and 2 of them were 7-inning contests and he's hurt and he DH'd in one of the games. Come on. I don't understand how him and Stanton are always banged up. It amazes me. They're 2 mammoth human beings. It's just unbelievable. If I played on the Trop and I got hurt, I'd understand that I'm not in shape. But these guys who have been training and should be in much better shape, they should be ready to go and they should not be banged up as much. So who's to blame for this? Are we going to blame the medical staff for not taking care of these guys? Or are we going to blame the Yankees for not, looking out for these guys' best interests in terms of playing time and whatnot? I don't know what to tell you. But what I do know is that Judge is a guy that should be out there every day. There should be no excuse as to why he's hurt. It just seems like every single time we get excited about him or Stanton, they get hurt, and it's unbelievably annoying. Like, I don't know how much more to say about it. It's frustrating. Judge is hitting 9 home runs and 20 RBIs are the most in the big leagues going into yesterday, and you're just like, are you kidding me? This guy is hurt again? It's just frustrating. It was the wrist and the ribs and now lower body tightness. And you hope that's all it is. And hope that the Yankees aren't lying about that, because how do you trust Aaron Boone right now? The guy doesn't tell you the truth in press conferences, apparently. So let's Stanton's injury is probably a lot worse than they're making it out to be, too. Let's just put it out there and get that over with, too. But it's just so frustrating. They DH Stanton full time. The guy's making $300 million. All he has to do is swing a bat 4 times a game and run the bases, and he still can't stay healthy. And Judge, they're DHing him in games. They're giving him as much rest as possible. Now he's dealing with lower body tightness. You're like, why is there a curse on this team and their injuries? I just don't get it. It's annoying. But anyway, back to reality and back off my soapbox here. Hopefully Judge is okay. Aaron Boone doesn't know if he'll be able to play in the series opener against the Red Sox. Who knows? But fingers crossed that it's just some soreness and that it's not more. And as always, I think we should just ban the Trop because, number one, who likes turf on a baseball field? I think it's the dumbest thing ever. I hate it. I think that baseball should ban it. If you're seeing all these injuries, then, you should get rid of it. Number two, the Trop is a dump, so let's just get rid of that building. Tampa Bay will be happy to get rid of that stadium. Get a new stadium for the Rays. The Rays are competitive. Give them a stadium that they're worthy of already, and let's call it a day. Now, we're not ready to call it a day on the show. We have a lot more to talk about. We're going to go into Game 2, and the Yankees go to Masahiro Tanaka. It was Tanaka time in the Bronx. He gets to start to hopefully bring home the sweep in a 2-game set for the Yankees. And Tanaka went 4 innings, and like he said, he wasn't as sharp as he hoped. He let up 2 runs over 5 hits. The big fly came from the bat of Camargo. That came in the 2nd inning. But other than that, Tanaka was solid through 66 pitches. Remember, they are trying to build up his pitch count, so they're taking it slowly but surely with him. And the Yankees helped. They got him run support. He let up the home run in the 2nd inning, and right away, the Yankees scored 2 runs in the bottom half. They chased Yanoa out of this ball game after only pitching 1 inning, so it was impressive for them. They did a really nice job, and what we're going to talk about in that 2nd inning are 2 very good things for the Yankees. Number 1, Gary Sanchez hit a home run, and we know how bad this guy's been struggling. Hopefully, and I mean hopefully, this is the thing that's going to get him back on track. Who knows with Gary? Gary's been very, very cold, and we know what happens when he gets very, very hot, so hopefully that's on the way. And then following Sanchez in his first start of the season, Clint Frazier. Downtown goes Frazier, as the great John Sterling says, goes 410 feet into the left field bleachers to tie the game. And we're going to talk more about Frazier as he was called up as the injury replacement for Giancarlo Stanton. So let's get back right into the action here. I know I'm jumping around a little bit. Bottom half of the 4th inning, Yankees scored 2 more runs. Hicks hit a double, scoring DJ LeMahieu, and then after a pitching change, Torres singles to right center field, and then Hicks was able to score, makes it 4-2. Yankees add 2 more In the bottom half of the fifth, DJ LeMahieu, all he does is hit. He singles. Then a Voit single, scores another one. That is your right there. You have 6-2 after 5, and that's all the Yankees would get. The Braves add another run in the top of the ninth, of course, because why would we make things easy? It's just incredible. But, the Yankees get the win. It is what it is. Some notables, DJ LeMahieu, 4 for 5. He had a series, scored 2 runs in this ball game. Overall, 5 for 7. 4 runs scored, an RBI, 2 walks. He's up to 431 on the year batting average. If I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Give this guy a blank check. Keep him around for a long time. Then you had Luke Voit had 2 hits in the ball game. Hicks had a hit. Glaber had an RBI hit. He went opposite field. Hopefully that gets him going. He's hitting 161 on the year. Yikes. Gary hit the home run. That was his only hit in 5 at-bats, but it's a home run from Gary. Hopefully he's on track too, because the Yankees need his bat offensively to get going. And when he's not hitting, the defense, it leaves room for improvement. So when he's hitting, you can at least tolerate it a little more. And then let's get to Clint Frazier. And I talked extensively about Frazier in the last show, but Frazier comes up and he really sees the opportunity, hit a home run in his first at bat, had 3 hits in the ball game, was a triple shy of the cycle. He scored 2 runs. Unbelievable performance from Frazier, and it just seems like he's ready to take control of his situation. I feel bad for this kid. I really do. He's a major league player. He proved it last night, but the Yankees are so loaded, the opportunity wasn't there. But getting his opportunity, he really shined, and he filled in for Aaron Judge very nicely in this ball game. Hopefully, that shows Aaron Boone, give this kid at bats. As long as Stanton's out, there's no reason not to give him at bats. Let him play a little left field. Let him play a little right field. Let him DH. I know the Yankees don't necessarily love his defense, but get his bat in the lineup somehow. The kid is good. And the way I see it happening is this, and I hate to say it because I love Frazier, but I think over the next couple of weeks, they're going to use him and showcase his bat to other teams because, let's face it, this team could use some starting pitching help. They're going to be on the market for starting pitching help most likely, and if Frazier starts hitting, he's going to be at a premium. You mean to tell me that there's teams out there that could use an outfielder that wouldn't give up some of their pitching depth for him? The kid is good, and he's a guy that you can plug in your lineup every day for an extended period of time. He's that good. His long-term value's there. But again, the opportunity hasn't been there. He's getting the opportunity now, and let's see if he can continue hitting the way that he hit last night or in Wednesday night's contest. Now, Tanaka, we talked about, wasn't very sharp, but he got the job done for what he was. You expect Tanaka to come back slowly but surely, and it's just good to see him back on the mound. He's a very valuable piece of this Yankee team, and you look for him to build on every single start. Loaisiga, he's becoming a lethal part of the Yankees bullpen. He comes in, he throws 2 scoreless, he strikes out 3. He's becoming a really valuable piece for Aaron Boone to use. They go to Green. Green gets a hold. Avilan comes in, gets 2 outs. They go to Ottavino to finish off the inning. And then Aaron Boone does an Aaron Boone type of thing, up 6-2, brings in Holder to try to close it out. Holder throws 9 pitches, lets him a run, but he goes to Britton to close it out. And a couple of things that I want to talk about in this series. Number one, the defense was a little shaky in game 1. There was a lot of miscommunication. The Yankees got to really shore up that communication between Glaber and DJ. And also Urshela, you saw a really ugly play where Urshela went for a double play. Nobody was covering the bag. Still proceeded to throw to second base. A little ugly there. A couple of errors in the field. Got to shore that up. That's not something that leaves you having a positive take. The pitching, Montgomery was good. Tanaka was okay. The bullpen, for the most part, was solid. The offense looked good. Even without Judge and Stanton, they were able to produce. And especially given that they hit the long ball, but they were also able to produce without the long ball in this series, which was good to see as well. Coming off of a series against Tampa where you dropped 3 of 4, and then you lost 5 of 7, essentially, getting a sweep of the Braves was really nice. I know the Braves were without Ronald Acuna, who was dealing with a wrist injury. Hopefully he's back for the next series. I love watching him play. I know he's a guy that you don't want to see on the opposing side, but as a fan, you want to see him play. And it just is what it is with that situation. But Again, a big sweep for the Yankees as they look forward to the remainder of their home stretch. And this home stretch is important in regards to the division because you're playing 7 games against your division rivals. You got 4 coming up against the Red Sox. That'll go from Friday to Monday. Cole takes the mound in the opener. You expect to win that ball game, followed by Paxton. Hopefully, he follows up his great start against the Rays in nice fashion or somewhat similar fashion in a way, avoiding that last inning of work because we would definitely take the 6 strong he threw before letting up a couple runs in that 7th. Jay Happ goes on Sunday Night Baseball. I think they purposely did that to torment the Sunday Night Baseball crew. It is what it is, but hopefully Happ has it. And then Montgomery goes in the series finale on Monday before the Yankees take on Tampa in that big 3-game set. Again, Tampa's riding hot right now. You got to take care of the Red Sox first. The Red Sox pitching's been atrocious at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees offense really has to capitalize and then worry about taking care of Tampa. In a 7-game stretch here, if you go 5-2 and you really take care of this division, you're really separating yourself from the pack. And these games are big. I know the playoff situation. I say it a million times that the way it is, it's fluid. A lot of teams get in, but you always want to take care of that situation. You want to win those ball games, especially on your home field. And the Yankees are 6-0 at home right now, so I totally expect them to come out of the gate ready to play, especially given they know how big these series are against their division foes. So I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see Garrett Cole on the mound on Friday night against the Red Sox. And I am very, and I mean very excited for the upcoming week. I love division rival games. I love when Boston comes into the stadium. They're always exciting no matter how good or bad both teams are. And then you have Tampa. That team could really be a sleeper in the American League. A lot of people are high on them. They're playing good baseball right now, so it's going to be a very good matchup. And let's just hope that Aaron Judge is healthy. I love Clint Frazier, and I want to see him play, but I want to see him play with Aaron Judge in the lineup. Call me crazy. I would prefer Frazier over Hicks. I'd prefer Frazier over Gardner at this point. Heck, I want to see Tauchman. I want to see Frazier. I want to see Judge. I want to see the Yankees win some more ball games. 12-6. I know we're getting greedy here. They're playing good baseball. If you told me they were 12-6 out of the gate, and they had one of the best records in the league, I would take it. I'd be happy with it, obviously. But as always, you know how competitive the division's going to be, and there's a lot of good teams in baseball. So, in a short series, in a short season, you don't want to take anything for granted. And I think that's why there's still a little bit of pressure on this team to win games because you want to put yourself in a nice position to succeed in the postseason. We want 28. That's obvious. The goal is clear. The team is there. Let's see if they have it in them. Now, as always, follow us on Twitter at Pinstripe Talk ND, my personal account at Nick_Delahanty. Search us up on Facebook by looking up Pinstripe Talk Podcast. Our podcast available on all podcasting platforms. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. You name it, our show is there available for you. Wondering when our next show is going to be? That is simple. It will be aired on Monday. We don't know what time on Monday, but it will be aired. We will send out social media updates regarding the show as soon as it is ready for you all to listen to. And we hope that you continue to listen in on our podcast. And again, check out our website, DelahantyMedia.com. It's exciting to say that because I love the way the website looks. I love that we have a custom domain. There's a lot of great things on there, and I think that you're going to really enjoy it. So check that out. And again, thank you to Alpha Design for the help on that. The Delahanty Media brand is growing by the day. The Pinstripe Talk podcast continues to produce content. And as always, we're sitting here hoping that we have a lot of good things to talk about with regards to the New York Yankees. That's going to wrap up today's show. Again, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy schedules. And we hope that during this COVID-19 virus outbreak that we're still dealing with, everybody is safe and healthy. As always, let's go Yankees. That never changes. That motto is always the same. And until next time, this is the Pinstripe Talk podcast, powered by Delahanty Media. I'm your host, Nick Delahanty. Let's go Yankees. Big series coming up, and we're going to talk about it and more on our next episode. Until then, We'll see you soon. Take care.